just acknowledge yourself and face yourself and actually want and have the heart to want to do better or get better or heal.
If you don't know how to turn inward and look inward and face yourself, if you don't have the internal intestinal fortitude, you're just going to be externalizing. There's only one way out, and that's to turn inward. And if we are to share some of the actual messages of the actual Christ that made it through the Bible, there are some phrases there that are from the actual Christ. And the kingdom of heaven is within. Know thyself. What do you reckon that's all about? So if you understand the extent of those phrases, like it might be a short phrase, but it speaks volumes upon volumes upon volumes. So when we start to get raw and real and we turn inside out, then you begin to connect to what's real in life. The only way you're going to connect to what's real in life is through what's real inside of you, within you. There's only one way out, organically. Truthfully, there's only one way out of this. Yeah? Because if you don't choose that one way out, then you're going to be recycled back into the multidimensional cosmic matrix one way or another, where you get harvested by the technological intelligence God, because now you've chosen to be assimilated in the technological singularity in one form or another, or you get harvested by a religious God in one form or another. Right? Either way, you're going to get harvested. Yeah? So they're your only other options, or you leave the planet through the death process. So you've only got 3 options other than the true path. You've got 3 other pathways to choose from. If you cannot be strong enough to look inward and actually face yourself and come to terms with the fact that, yes, I have invested my beingness into a false narrative. I've invested into a belief system that has been fed to me, that my whole society and culture has been programmed with through millennia. I'm strong enough to stand in my true light and stand in the light of the false narrative. You can stand in the true nature to be the guardian of who and what you truly are, and to do it with assertiveness, but graceful assertiveness. And so when you get to that point of self-realization, that you're actually going to be honest with yourself to the degree that you can literally admit, oh, wow, yes, I have. It's true. I have literally invested my identity, and I'm living my identity through this ideological program, a narrative that's been given to you by empire. What your thing is, what your idolatry is, yeah, when you live and identify yourself through that idolatry. And that's the problem that's befallen all of our spiritual world, is it's one form of idolatry or another, and that's really, really sad. And it's always built on subservience too. And if you choose to be subservient and worship this entity that has been presented to you by empire, and that version of Christ, right, which is exactly what Christ warned us about the Pharisees, their deity and their ways, right? Christ warned us clearly about that. Right? So what is every Christian on the planet doing right now? They're worshipping the version of Christ the Pharisees have given to them, and they're worshipping the deity of the Pharisees.
There are 3 parts to the Gnostic message for humanity. The first part is the Sophianic narrative, the fallen goddess scenario, explaining how the earth came to be. One of the astounding points of this narrative, which is the birthright of humanity. It's the story of our origin and of the origin of our planetary mother. It states clearly that the divine presence, living divine presence, which I call Gaia Sophia, which is currently existing in the earth, pre-existed the earth. In other words, those of you today who might be attracted to a pagan viewpoint, looking at the earth as divine, as a living being, as the mother goddess, as the earth goddess. Those of you who are inclined to that view, I encourage you to consider the amazing statement of Gnosis, which is, yes, that is true. Gaia is a living goddess, but she even existed before she was Gaia. And that is what the story tells.
So the truth of the matter is the God in the Bible is the true demiurge, right? The true Satan, Al Satan, the opposer, because that entity is in full opposition to the natural way of love and the natural way of life and the natural way of light. Yeah? It presents its version of reality in full opposition to the natural way of love and the natural way of life and the natural way of light. Right? Through their heart, soul, essence with creation itself, people are not doing that. They're taking information in here, what's fed into this space, and remember, whatever you put into this space here then becomes the lenses that you perceive reality through. I am on a quest for the truth, and it's a noble quest because I question everything, which means I question everything within. I question all of my beliefs. So what we've got to do is we've got to question everything within ourselves, all our belief systems, all our ideologies, and look at where we're investing our identity through. And I've decided to, because when you go down this path, you begin to very quickly see, and all your belief systems get challenged along the way, because you've got to get rid of all those masks, those layers, to get to what's real inside of you. Once you get to start to get what's real inside of you, you begin to get to what's real in life, in reality. And you can only access what's real through what's real in you. Okay? Now, this is the amazing thing is, this is our actual natural evolution. You begin to realize, hang on a minute, we're these really incredible beings. We're universal fractals. And we have gods out there that are so jealous of us.
Yeah.
So jealous of us. They're freaking out. Because you have babies being born in this world through our natural fractal structure that have access to more life force, universally speaking, than any of the gods ever will. And when that sword of truth, when actual logos hits you, it hurts. And I've had that happen to me throughout my life, and that's what taught me beautiful lessons, because I became to realize every time I felt that pain, I had the choice. Do I dig my heels in and defend the belief system, or do I actually listen to what life is trying to tell me and come to the realization that, oh, I do have another layer of mask. I do have another level of living a lie, invested into a belief system, identifying myself through that. I have to now deconstruct that. I need to embrace that, alchemize it, pull all the wisdom that I can out of it, and totally dissolve it and integrate it back into my being. So now I can be clearer, I can be freer. Now I can go on to my next adventure and find out what I need to alchemize next.
About the mind. This is where we are in World War III. It's a battle of the mind. Controlling your own emotions, your heart, and your systems and your will. So it's actually an incredible gift that we're being pummeled by all this crapola that we need to climb out of, to understand we don't need it. It's free will choice. It's all about free will, respecting your own will, not having a judgment on others, but understanding that you can do what you need to do to get your own job done.
Just acknowledge yourself and face yourself and actually want and have the heart to want to do better or get better or heal. Just the very want of healing will actually aid you to merge. And you need to listen to yourself. And yourself will often, your inner is going to guide you on how to merge, because it knows how to merge your soul with yourself. A lot of people are suffering in one way or another. A lot of people are unhappy, or they feel unloved, or they're suffering in society. And if they were merged, they wouldn't have those sort of issues, because they would surpass all of that. And I have a massive amount of conspiracy theorists that follow me, and they're asking me about this stuff. And I'm trying to tell them, you need to clear out your body and you'll start experiencing this stuff. Why are you asking me about this stuff when you can experience it yourself? I could never tell you. It's infinite. I could never tell you what I experienced. But it's interdimensional. It's on other levels. It's not something that's sitting here like the pillow. I think it's about higher beings that came down here and got caught down here and are dragons now, and maybe they just have to remember. And when they remember who they truly are, they'll become kings and princes and princesses and queens, because originally that's how they were.
In some respects, it's been referred to as the butler is now running the butler has taken over the manor. Some people have suggested.
That's exactly what's happened. The jokers.
Yeah.
And the jokers. The jokers are acting like they're the king. Jokers are acting like they're the king. Jokers are acting like they're the kings.
We've been lied to all along by this particular consciousness that's doing this. And another time we can address that particular consciousness and why and what it is. Exactly. It's in the hands of the people. We're the creators. They aren't the creators. They can't create. We can. Take responsibility and create for ourselves.